This is the fatherhood experience. Turn it up, cause tonight you'll learn how to leave behind the average dad life. This the fatherhood experience. It's time to lead my family and become the father figure I deserve to be. The fatherhood experience.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fatherhood Experience, where we help dads become better dads. We are your hosts, Jason Priest and Zach Smith, and we have a gut-wrenching episode for you guys today. We're going to help you today. I think you're going to get a shit ton of value out of today's episode. We have not done this in a while, and so be prepared, because it's going to make you think a little bit, but we're also going to give you some actionable strategies to help you take control of your health. Before we dive in, just want to say thank you to all of you who continue to follow along with our mission. And just let you know, we have a couple of different show formats here. And Zach and I have been on quite the streak for a while of him and I doing solo episodes, but we are starting to get some more guests. We're starting to bring some more guests in. I know you guys probably enjoyed the hell out of Rich Grogan's episode. And if you did not listen to that, I would highly encourage you to go back and listen to it. Several of our clients said that it brought them to tears at times. And so it was a very, very awesome episode. So go check that out. But we do some guest interviews. We do some Q&A style episodes. And today we're going to be doing a little bit of a shorter form episode for you, but it'll be short, impactful, and to the point. And so just so you know, if you ever have questions, you can always send those into info@thefatherhoodexperience.com. And we will include your questions in one of our future episodes. We're here to add value to your life, and we are not here to waste your time or bore you with ads or promoting shit that Zach and I don't use. And so the one thing that we ask from you is that if you get value out of today's episode or any episode in the past or the future, share that with another dad in your life who can join in on our mission of changing the culture in our country and taking back our country, because it starts with dads. So as we dive into today's episode, I'm just going to let you guys know, and this is a very important message for all dads out there, but nobody's coming to save us. The establishment wants us fat, sick, obese, addicted to sugar, hooked on their medications, scrolling, staying on our phone for 8 hours a day, destroying our mental health, not spending time with our family, not encouraging our kids to pursue their passions, goals, and dreams. They want the exact opposite of what you should be trying to do. And if you are falling victim to their plan, we're going to help you today in multiple ways, but hopefully give you a simple path to take back your health. So, Zach, what's up, dude? I'm excited for today's episode. This is one that gets me fired up, and I know you get a little bit fired up too. And during our coaching call last night, we had a lot of fun talking about some similar challenges around what we got going on in our country right now.
Yeah, we went over some a little bit of a different topic, very relative to what we talked about last week. But so last week we talked about the importance of fathers. Today, let's talk about how the hell we can get these fathers to be the absolute best that they can be, the pinnacle of health, the apex of fitness, the best dad, role model, leader, spouse, whatever, and everything. Actually, not just anything, but everything.
Yep.
How are you going to do that? Let me ask this: when people think about how can you become the best you could ever be, most people will say getting healthy, right? Because we already all understand that without your health, you have nothing, right? There's that whole saying, health is wealth. And it's funny, people just say that like just randomly, but really health is literally wealth. And an example I used yesterday was I asked these guys, I was like, hey, if I told you that I'd give you $1 million today, but you had to die tomorrow, would you want to take that? Okay, no. Okay, how about this then? If I give you $1 million, but you have to live chronically ill for the rest of your life, how about that? No. Okay, I'll give you the money, but your significant other or one of your children has to die. Would you take that? No. Okay. Well, so, and I just kept going. I'm just like, so here it is, guys. Health is literally everything. And the problem is so many people neglect their health in the pursuit of money, because they think that the money is going to give them the life that they think that they're going to be happy with, right? But it's not about the money. It's about your health, which, surprise, surprise, in turn helps you to make more money as a byproduct of that, because your new level of confidence, self-esteem, you are much more efficient, you have more energy, you're more charismatic, you're more confident, everything is just better. So it's funny how most people try to prioritize money while neglecting their health, but because they do so, they get out of shape, They have no confidence. They have shit for energy. And just like an engine not running on all cylinders, that has become them. So when we boil it down to the pretty much the foundation of how the hell you can become the best you can be, it always starts with your health. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
No doubt. Excuse me. I agree 100% with you. And, you know, I think it's funny because you bring up a good point. The health as wealth thing is tossed around very loosely these days. And I've been seeing a lot of, and I'm sure you've seen some of these too, some of these more like some of the memes or some of the graphics that have come out, and they'll say like, it'll say like rich, rich, and then rich, right? And one of them says rich, you know, rich financially, and they'll have like a little bar graph, and the financial piece is way up here, but everything else is way down. And then the next graph will show like rich everything, and it'll have like, you know, financial bar graph, health, you know, everything seems to be in alignment, and you've got it all, right? And that's when you are firing on all cylinders. And so I think that, you know, when you talk about health as wealth, without it, you know, how many, we've talked about this a lot of times, but how many billionaires are out there that would trade their entire fortune to have their health back? Because without it, dude, you don't have anything. It's literally, we have one body, right? When that body's gone, or that body becomes sick or ill or dysfunctional in any kind of capacity, you're going to struggle. You're going to have pain. You're going to have discomfort. You're going to have low energy. You're going to feel shitty all the time. And that's no way to live. That quality of life is more important than anything in my opinion. But going back to like what we've got going on culturally right now, you know, we talked about this, and I talked about this on one of my stories, but last night we talked about it. 69% right now of our country is overweight, and we're quickly closing on 40% who are obese. And that's an extremely sad statistic. And it's not going to change without dads leading the way. And if you think about how we change generational trends, we talk to our guys about this all the time. We get guys who tell us, well, my whole family's fat and this is just the way that I am. And I'm like, no, dude, you have an opportunity to change the rest of your family by taking charge of what you're doing right now and instilling those values and morals and core concepts into your family moving forward. And so when we look at the big picture right now and how society is set up with the immediate gratification, right? It's almost like we're set up to fail, but is it by design, right? So you have people on their cell phone all day long, right? How good is that for our mental health when you're just scrolling a screen 8 hours a day? I will tell you, when that little Sunday notification pops up on my screen and it says your screen time percentage was down 20%, I feel a little like moral victory for that sometimes, right? Like everybody gets that on Sundays. And so it makes me happy. But we're not meant to scroll a screen 8 hours a day. We're not meant to eat shitty GMO and sugar-filled food and fake food all day. We're certainly not meant to be sedentary and sit behind a desk in fake lighting all day. These things that are set up in society, it's almost like it's very easy to fall into these traps because you get sedentary. You don't work out. You're scrolling fucking phone. You're buying shit. You're eating shitty food. You're getting fatter. You're sitting around all day, and now you're not leading by example for your family. So when establishment setup wins, it's impacting generations, right? Dad's not leading by example, which means kids are going to follow in his footsteps because those habits carry over. And now we're fucked because that keeps passing itself down, and they don't even need the societal influence anymore because dad's now passing down the shitty habits. And so I think that, like I told our guys last night, it should anger you to your core that there are people out there rooting for you to fail as a leader and as a father, because they don't want you to teach your kids that it's okay to go pursue their dreams and goals. And look at the public education system. We are all equal. We're all inclusive. And so as dads, we've got to stand up and rise up and take control of our own families so that we can make the slightest little ripple in this culture wave that will get us going in the right direction. And so how do we do that? Like, my question back to you is, what is the most simplistic path for a father who is either stuck or not making the progress that they should be making right now? What is the most simplistic path forward so that we can help other dads take control of their health, take back full control of their health, so they're not on these pharmaceutical medications They're not addicted to sugar and eating shitty food all the time. What is the most simplistic path forward? Because that's what dads need to hear. They need a solution. They don't need to be always told that no one's coming to save them, because I think we can all agree we got a massive problem in this country. That obesity and overweight percentage is disturbing. And so unless culture changes, I don't care who's installed as our president in 2024, or who wins, whatever we want to call that, that's not changing our culture. That might change the landscape for a while, but it starts at home with dads. So what is the most simplistic path forward?
There is no, I mean, well, I shouldn't say there is no simplistic path, but what I can say is we can simplify the multifaceted approach that needs to be practiced every single day, right? So that, I guess that's a perfect segue into what it is that we really want to talk about on this particular episode, which is our 4 core pillars of fitness. Okay, so we are going to be covering up these simple techniques and methodologies and strategies that you can put into place when it comes to your exercise, when it comes to your nutrition, your sleep, and your stress management, that is. So let's talk about how simple this actually can be, as you've asked, because it really is. It's crazy, because if you're one person who just scrolls the internet too damn much, I almost can guarantee you're confused, because you got idiots out there that are saying, if you eat meat, you're going to get cancer. And then you have other people on the other spectrum saying, if you eat vegetables, you're going to be eating these leptins and they're going to be freaking genotoxic or whatever the hell like that. And then you got the people say artificial sweetener is going to cause brain damage. And then you got other people saying sugar is going to give you diabetes. Like, no matter what you do, it's like, no matter what you try to eat, what you try to consume, what you try to do, it's never the right thing, right? Because the internet's so flooded with a bunch of nonsense. Yeah. Something wrong with anything, dude. And if we listen to every single person, every single influencer, every single, even doctors, ladies and gentlemen, guys mostly listen to this, obviously, but most of these doctors don't have a damn clue about what the hell they're talking about when it comes to nutrition. Believe it or not, like it or not, that is just a simple fact. A lot of these doctors don't have to take nutrition courses. So of the many doctors, and I've shared this stat before, but of the many doctors in America, only about 30% of them have ever taken any nutrition courses, because to become a general physician, it's not required, because you don't need to know about that, which is why they always give you generic advice when it comes to losing weight. Move more and eat less, right? Cool. Thanks, buddy. Everybody knows that. But it's about the actual strategy that's going to, like, the actual tangible strategy that's going to help you to do so. So let's start and open up, since we're getting to the meat and potatoes of this conversation. Let's start with nutrition. Now, here's what you need to know. First and foremost is, let's gauge your path. Let's gauge your trajectory. Let's gauge what the hell is happening in your life. Because if you are actively gaining weight, that means you're consistently eating more calories than your body requires in a day. If you have been maintaining your weight, then guess what? Congratulations. You know exactly how much food you need to consume, food and drinks, in order for you to maintain it. And if you're losing weight, then awesome. Keep doing it. So first things first, if you want to really understand what you need to do, you need to understand where you're going. That would be step 1 for me. So identify what your weight has been over the last maybe 4 weeks or so, because again, 1 or 2 weigh-ins over the course of 1 to 2 weeks is not going to give a big enough picture for us to notice a trend or a pattern. So over the course of at least 3-4 weeks or so, are you gaining weight, staying the same, or are you losing? Because if you're losing, like I said, awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. You're on the right path. If you're maintaining, congratulations, you know. Now, all you need to do is slightly reduce what it is you're taking, primarily going to be from carbohydrate or fat sources, because you're going to want to probably keep that protein uptake a little bit higher, because more than likely you're not having optimal amounts of protein, so that you can make sure that you're putting on as much muscle mass as you possibly can. Because if you're just one of those people who are just clueless, usually they're not having enough protein. I'm not saying that you will be deficient. It's very hard to be deficient in protein. It's damn near virtually, it's just non-existent in America, at least. But most people are also not having optimal amounts. So if you're doing that, then just taper back just a touch. And then if you're somebody who's gaining weight, the same thing. Just take it back a touch. And if you take it back a touch to the point where over the course of the next 2 to 4 weeks, you're maintaining your weight, congratulations, you found the next milestone. And then rinse and repeat till you get to that deficit where you're consistently losing weight. That would literally be the easiest like macro point of view approach in the world. If you want to give a little bit finer details, Jason, go ahead, feel free to share, man. But I want to start with understanding where you're going. You got to know where you're going and what's going on with your eating habits first.
Yeah, I think, look, and it's funny because I think most people, well, I shouldn't say that. I think some people start with nutrition and some people start with fitness. And we've got that I bring that up because that guy, in the group last night when we did our coaching call, he mentioned that he had just started on nutrition and hadn't started working out yet. I'm like, all right, well, dial in the workouts and let's see how much quality of sleep you get. Because if you're sleeping like shit right now, go start lifting some weights and your sleep is going to improve, right? But so I bring that up because I think for most people, the biggest room for, or not most people, for every single person, the biggest room for error is nutrition. You and I can both agree on that. If we eat 3 meals a day, most people, it's 21 meals a week, right? You can either fuck up several times, or you can keep it on track and plan your 1 to 3 meals where you want to enjoy yourself and still be making really good progress, right? But I think you bring up a good point. I think portion control and just making slight adjustments. We get so many guys who want to come in and just overhaul their whole life, and it's not going to happen. And so when we talk about a simple path forward, I think the suggestions you made, and then for me, and this is really what we teach our guys when they come in, if they implement the modified intermittent fasting, is, dude, dial in that window first. It's built in calorie control. It's built in portion control. You're not going, if you tell yourself I'm only eating between this and this time, well, now you're at an advantage over most people because you've already established that discipline within your brain. You're not going to be the guy that's going in and snacking on donuts in the break room and when you go into work in the morning because you told your brain, I'm not eating until noon, And so I think that's a great place for people to start is trying the intermittent fasting to reduce those calories. If you're someone who's struggling to keep your calories in check, it's a good place to start. And then your next step can be focusing on food quality. I'm not telling you to eat like a trash can. I'm not telling you to go implement the intermittent fasting and now you could just eat McDonald's every day because your insides are going to look like shit. But you will be able to lose weight and get your health back in order and have more energy if you can keep from eating like and shoving your face like a pig. And so I think the strategies you gave were great. I think having a gradual approach, right? Like let's first get the amount of food we're eating down to a manageable level because I don't have to change a thing about what I'm eating as long as I just focus on eating a little bit less. And then over time, as I start to try more things, as my kids start to try more things, I can start incorporating more of the nutrient-dense foods into my life and optimize my nutrition even more moving forward. I like how you spelled it out because we're looking for simplicity here. And nutrition is a very broad topic. You brought it up. Some people say only fucking eat meat. Some people say don't eat any meat at all. Right. I say don't do either one of those things. But I think having a gradual approach and how you spelled it out, and then kind of wrapping your head around, let's get the calories under control first, and then we'll talk about food quality, right? You could start making slight improvements over that over time because you're never going to go wrong eating less and then improving your food choices over time. Anybody will get results with that gradual process, and it makes it more digestible for your brain. You can actually, it's sustainable, right? It's not saying, hey, you can't eat carbs anymore. And so love it. Moving on.
Yeah, man. I think I shared the story one time about how she was my girlfriend at the time and wife now. I met her roommate, and then
I thought you were about to start talking about somebody other than your wife, and I was like, "Oh shit, I've never heard one of these stories."
No.
But I know you guys have been together for like
half
40 years.
Over half my life now, dude. Life was over before it began. No, she's awesome. But look, so this was back in her college days, okay? And I shared the story again. Like I said, I don't even remember how many episodes. 100 episodes ago. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But anyways, I met my girlfriend at the time's roommate's boyfriend, who was a vegan. Okay. This guy was very overweight, overweight
vegan. Interesting.
Very overweight. And I just shook his hand, had a conversation. Everything was cool. He seemed like a great guy. He finally leaves. And then she goes, he likes cookies. I'm like, I didn't say anything. I never said anything about that. So going back to what you said, and you and I, we're talking about what can we do to move the needle the furthest with the least amount of effort is really what we want to do. Most people think that all of a sudden when they want to start eating better, they need to have all this organic, free range, pasture, grass-fed, blah, blah, blah. No, you don't have to do all that. Can you? Sure. Absolutely. You can. If you have the financial means to do so, if you have the capability to do so, yes, please go for it. But if you don't want to, don't worry about that. Because like we were saying, let's focus on the 80% of what's going to move that needle forward. And then we can refine from there. You can absolutely get overweight and maintain being overweight while still eating all the quote unquote healthy foods. because you're just eating too damn much. So that's why it's all about quantifying it first and then improving the quality of that quantity thereafter. That's the way it should go. Because again, when you get results, because you're focusing on that 80%, it's going to help you to adhere more, and you're going to be more motivated to be like, okay, what else can I do to be even better?
Yep.
Versus if you focus on the expensive foods and you're not getting any results, you're going to be like, I can't believe I'm wasting all this money for nothing to happen. So think about that,
and you'll throw in the towel. Yeah.
100%, dude. So that's
I'm
why I
shopping
say
at
let's
fucking
focus on
Whole
quantity.
Foods and I'm not losing all this weight.
Exactly. Nah,
Yeah.
pass.
Yeah.
So of course, that's obviously very important because nutrition is going to be about 80% of everything, man. What you put into your mouth or how much of it, what you put into your mouth is going to be a reflection of what you look like. Okay. So nutrition is extremely important. Now, I'm not saying all of these aren't important equally because they're all very important. But honestly, when it comes to the weight loss side of things, nutrition is going to be absolutely critical. Now, let's talk about fitness because like Jason said earlier, there are some people who start with fitness and there's some people who start with nutrition. Here's the difference. People who start with fitness generally like the way their body is starting to contour, you know what I mean? And look as they start to lose weight when they start focusing on nutrition thereafter versus the people who focus on nutrition and they don't do any fitness. What tends to happen with those people is, yes, they lose weight. Yes, they lose fat. But the problem is, yes, they lose muscle. Because all the body wants to do is to adapt to any stimulus that you provide it. Dude, our body is incredible at adapting to anything. Shit, you lift weights long enough, you start forming calluses. Dude, your skin will literally thicken in the areas where your body deems it needs more padding. That is how incredible the body is. So you need to couple nutrition with fitness because if you do not, what's going to happen more than likely is you're going to be one of those people who end up losing a lot of muscle and a lot of fat. So you end up becoming smaller, but you also become more frail. You don't burn as many calories in a rested state. And then eventually, if you hit your goal weight, you're going to more than likely look skinny fat and you're going to absolutely hate the way you look. Because I've never spoken with anybody, and I know Jason has never spoken to anybody, and together combined, we're in the thousands of individuals we've spoken to. Nobody has ever once said, hey man, at the end of this journey, I want to look skinny fat. Not a thing, guys. It is not a thing.
No,
not a thing.
Especially for dudes, but I would venture to say that most chicks don't want that either. And true. I just said the word chicks, and it brought up a fucking meme that I saw the other day, and I don't know if you saw this on my story.
Can we say that anymore? Are you misogynist now because you said that? Are we allowed to say that in society?
Listen, this fucking meme had like the Family Guy dad on there, and it said, "Are they called chicks because they produce eggs? Or are they called chicks because they love cocks?" And I was like,
I actually saw this on your story.
I loved it.
I saw that on your story. Actually, I was going to respond, but I had to tend to Ace. He was calling my name. I was going to respond to that. I was like,
laugh
hilarious.
out loud meme, dude. Like it's funny
hilarious.
shit, right? So anyway,
hilarious, man.
To the skinny fat point, I will tell you, man, and I was skinny fat. Okay. So I did not go on my health journey in the way that I coach guys to go on their health journey. And that's why I feel like what I say right here is even more valuable for the right guy. Because listen, dude, you know, Zach and I, we're not sitting up here telling you that we can change all your relationships in your life, right? Like that's going to take a lot of work and effort on your behalf to strengthen your relationships. But I can tell you, if you get healthier and you have more energy, it's not a bad thing for your relationships. Zach and I can also not help you become rich, become a millionaire. However, I can assure you that if you get healthy and have more energy, you are going to have more drive, more focus, and more desire to level up in your career and make more money. And so health can be the leading charge or the catalyst behind leveling up in all areas of life. And I tell you that because, again, we're trying to become independent of the system, the matrix. You don't want to be hooked on medications. You don't want to be hooked on You don't want to be addicted to sugar and eating like shit all the time and nasty foods. They're man-made foods. You don't want these things. You want to live an active lifestyle. If you're tuned into this show, you want to be active. You want to be healthy. And so when we're talking about fitness, hear me out on this, all right? I did spin classes for 9 months. I did not lift a single weight, okay? I was 232 the last time I stopped weighing. I'd imagine I got a little heavier than that because it was a while before I went to the gym. So let's say 235 max. I was 60 plus pounds overweight from what I'm at right now. And I lost every single ounce of that weight by going to spin classes 4 to 5 times a week for 9 months. I was skinny fat. When that journey was done and I got down to 175 pounds or whatever it was that I got down to, 172, I look like shit. And I actually have a picture, and I need to find that picture because I remember I kept that before I started my weightlifting journey. And dude, like, I was thin, right? Not much muscle mass. I was like, fuck, dude, I look like shit. I'm glad I'm not fat anymore, but I need to get strong now. And so there was a instructor in one of the spin classes, little guy, typical like 5'2", but just jacked guy. So he taught spin for his cardio, and then he'd go like work with guys in the weights. But he's your typical, the shorter guy that gets real jacked. And I'm not going to say he had little man syndrome, but he also drove a lifted truck. So, I guess the stereotypes fell true for this guy. Great dude though, man. Like, guy was fucking awesome. And he started helping me putting on some muscle mass. And over the next 6 months, because of the newbie gains, I totally transformed my physique, and I didn't look like a skinny guy anymore, right? I had some definition. I wasn't jacked, but I had some definition. And so when you're listening to this, if you're just now starting your journey, it's crazy to me, Zach, how many people out there, how many guys out there don't lift weights? I just feel like if you're in decent shape, like it's a standard in your life. And I forget that we're in a very small percentage of men who lift weights on a regular basis. It's shocking to me. When that guy came into the group yesterday and said, man, I haven't really started the workouts, I'm just focusing on nutrition yet. I'm like, well, what are we waiting for, man? Like, you don't know what's on the other side for you, dude. Start picking heavy shit up and putting it back down. And so when I'm thinking about the simplistic path forward for guys, like, dude, our highest level program, Apex, we give them zero cardio, none. And these guys get fantastic results. Calorie control, fitness, lifting weights, right? Seems to be, now, there's a lot of other factors that come into play, but dude, simplistic path forward would be, for me, in my opinion, if you do nothing else, go lift weights 3 to 4 times a week, hit every muscle group, and come back to me in 6 months and tell me that your life has not drastically changed with that one addition to your life. Do nothing else. Go lift weights 3 to 4 times a week for 6 months and tell me that you don't feel like a completely brand new man when it comes to strength, energy, masculinity, and your outlook on life moving forward. It's literally an addiction for me and a love-hate relationship.
He says love-hate because it is hard, guys. It is hard. Nobody said this was easy, but it is simple, okay?
It's necessary.
Now, for those of you who are even like, I don't have the time, because guess what? We hear it all of the time too. You do. Cut it out. If you don't have gym access, guess what? You got a body and you have things around the house. You can literally do crunches, squats, push-ups. You could do floor lat pull downs, which is where you like grab a pole or a towel or something like that, and you lay on your belly prone, and you literally just pretend you're doing a lat pull down. It's kind of a lat pull down, for those of you who don't know, is essentially like a pull up, but the opposite. You're pulling the weight towards you versus you pulling your weight up. And you could literally do that on the floor. Shit, you're somebody who's never trained in your life. There is research that shows that if you are somebody who is non-trained, you can flex your muscle your hardest and you will gain muscle. That is how good our body is at adapting to stimuli we provide it. If you're somebody who's never put yourself through that kind of exercise regimen before, any kind of exercise regimen before, you can literally build muscles by squeezing your muscle, doing calf raises, doing squats, not even squats, flexing your quad, flexing your hamstring, flexing your biceps, flexing your pecs, flexing your back, flexing anything. You're going to build muscle. It's actually not that difficult. But if you're somebody who just has anything, body weight, no, like, or anything, just squeezing your muscles, just straight up nothing. Resistance bands, dumbbells, Bowflex, adjustable dumbbells, whatever the heck it is, or full gym access. You got to just be doing something, guys. Something, anything. Give your body a reason to not eat away at the muscle because you're actually putting it to use. If you don't use it, you will lose it in this context, guys. That's the way that it works. Now, again, it's always an asterisk because it depends on your fitness level and how aggressive your deficit and all that good stuff is. But generally speaking, if you do not use it, you will lose it. So anything and everything will be beneficial for you. Remember, it's not about flipping your life upside down. It's about just starting with something, anything, anywhere. That is it. Now, the boring shit.
Let's
The
get
shit
on to the
nobody
boring
likes
shit.
to
I like
talk
that you
about.
started with nutrition, by the way, because I thought you were going to start with sleep and say it's the sexy thing that nobody ever wants to talk about. So
Nope.
now we get to do the boring shit.
We're saving the boring one for last. And the reason why I say the boring one is because sleep and stress are kind of cousins. Okay. All of these things are in a family in the sense that they're all important to do together. But these two are kind of like cousins. They work hand in hand because when it comes to sleep, let's break down one at a time, I guess, and then we'll make the connection afterwards. When it comes to your sleep, that is what's going to provide your body its optimal ability to recover from all of that muscle tearing that you're doing in the gym. So the building up or the breaking down of the muscle occurs in the gym when you're putting it through hell, and the buildup of it and recovery occurs in your deeper state of sleep. So there's so many reasons as to why you're going to need sleep, including the building of the muscle, including the regulation of your hormones, the decreasing of cortisol, which is your stress hormone, and all kinds of other things. So when it comes to sleep, Jason, what do you suggest these guys do? Because we know that there's a lot of people who are like, I don't know what to, I can't get 7 hours to 9 hours of sleep like the experts say. What do I do? What do I do? We know, first of all, before you even answer, we know a lot of these guys are just sleeping too damn late. That's the reality of what it is. These guys are sleeping too damn late because when we ask them what's going on, they're watching TV or some other dumb shit. All right. And I'm not saying that you can't do it. All I'm saying is don't let that interfere with your time that you're trying to sleep. So when it comes to sleep hygiene or sleep practices or whatever these people want to call it, what the hell do you advise these guys do, or at least some strategy they can implement in order to start upping their sleep quality and or quantity?
Yep. I love it, dude. And I'm going to call it like it is. And, Raymond, if you're listening, this one's for you, my man. One of our clients, when he, remember the episode, he said, I heard Jason just say, grow up and be a man and eat your fucking broccoli. And it's stuck with me ever since. And I've been eating broccoli. This is the one, dude. It's the same thing. Get your ass to bed on time, man. Be a grown man and stop fucking trying to, here's what guys are doing. And I know exactly because I used to do this shit. You stay up late, you stay up scrolling, watching, whatever the fuck you're doing. You're delaying going to bed because you're trying to hold on to every ounce of that night before you have to go to bed because you know your ass has got to get up and go fucking face responsibility the next day. I understand it. It's sleep procrastination because I used to do it. I'm telling you. I would stay up fucking scrolling till midnight, just looking at aimless shit, just trying to take my mind off the fact that I had to get up and face responsibility the next day. So some of it's just growing up and becoming a fucking man and owning your shit and saying, you know what? Sleep needs to become more of a priority in my life. So I'm going to give myself the ability to sleep at least 7 hours from now on moving forward and see how that goes for you, right? That's step one. Get your ass to bed. Like if you got to get up at 6 a.m., make sure that your ass is on your pillow by 10:30 because it's going to take a little bit of time to fall asleep. Most people, unless you're my fucking wife, which is insane to me, she can literally fall asleep within 30 seconds. It blows my mind and it pisses me off sometimes.
Superpower.
It is a superpower, dude. She fell asleep at a fucking Justin Timberlake concert. Okay. Like at the concert, blaring noise. Like she has no problem sleeping. And so unless you're like her, it's going to take you a little bit of time to go to sleep. So plan ahead for this. Lower the air conditioning in your house so that it is a little chilly in your room and put your fucking head on the pillow at 10:30 if your ass has got to get up at 6. And start there. Like we want to talk about sleep hygiene. There's a lot of ways that you can go about this because I will tell you that there is a small percentage of people who do have some sleep disturbances and find it challenging to either get and or stay asleep. And I understand that, but it's a small percentage of the population. And I would venture to say that that small percentage of the population, you take a large percentage of that small percentage and instill the habits that we're teaching you right now with sleep, stress management, nutrition, and fitness, and all of their or most of their sleep disturbances would be fixed. Okay. But we'll save that for another day. If you give yourself the ability to sleep 7+ hours, that's step one. Then we start talking about sleep hygiene, some methods and strategies to help you get to sleep, whether that be reading a fictional book or reading a fictional book, something just mindless reading. Not talking about on your phone, talking about actual book. Get rid of the blue light. Put that fucking thing down. Keep the same structured schedule. Don't go to bed one night at midnight and the next night at 9:30 and try to go to bed again at 11 the next night. Like it's got to be consistent. Your body loves consistency. Your body loves to go to the gym consistently. Your body loves to eat nutritious foods consistently. Your body loves to sleep quality 7+ hours consistently. Accept that and embrace it and start giving your body what it needs, what it wants, what it craves, right? You said your body's very good at adapting. Well, when you're fat and out of shape and you start working out and you start walking, you start going to the gym, what happens? You start to feel better, right? That's number one. You don't lose weight right out of the gate, but you start to feel better and your body's like, holy shit, I need more of that, please. Let's do more. Let's do more. Then more changes come, right? It's a gradual process, but your body's going to adapt. And I'd say, number one, my biggest strategy is get your fucking ass to bed on time and stop making excuses, dude. That's number one.
100%, man. So guys, in order for you to understand what's going on or how the hell we even sleep, let me share this with you. When you are sleeping, one of the things that you're going to want to do or go to sleep is not eat too close to your bedtime. Reason being is because when you consume food, your core temperature increases by anywhere between like a half to one degree Fahrenheit, which is the absolute opposite of what you want your body to do when you are trying to sleep. In order for you to fall asleep, your core temperature needs to be reduced by about 1 to 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the point of making the room colder, because for those of you listening, I bet you, if you really think about it, it is significantly easier to fall asleep in a cold room than it is a hot room. All you do is toss and turn when you're in a hot room, but when you're cold, you might be cold, but you will fall asleep. And because the room is cold, you will actually maintain that sleep. Because if you're one of those people, like sometimes it happens to me, if I wake up and I'm like, damn, it's hot and I'm rolling around, I'm sweating, I got to have that blanket half on, half off of me. It's irritating because you're trying to find that, you're trying to maintain that like 1 to 1.5 degree temperature, decrease, but you're freaking hot. So you're like your core temperature is overheating and it wakes you up even unintentionally, which is the importance of having the room being cold. Because if it's not cold, you will heat up too much to the point where it will wake you up because you are uncomfortable and you're going to toss and turn. So you have to cool it down. And then the other second easiest thing to do, I don't know if I didn't even hear if you covered this though, Jason, but it's get some blackout curtains, man.
I didn't. I just said eliminate blue light, but yeah.
Yep. Yeah, eliminating blue light from other sources such as your TV or your phone or your tablet, your laptop, computer, whatever it is. Yes, absolutely eliminate that, but go a step further and make your room as absolutely dark as possible. Absolutely. Especially if you're one of those people who sleep kind of later. If you don't have to wake up till like 8 o'clock and you sleep at midnight, guess what? That sun's up like 2 hours before you're even awake, meaning it's that much more important for you to black that room out, because when you get that light, that can penetrate the eyelids and that can cause you to wake up.
Yep.
So even if you slept at a reasonable time because your environment wasn't conducive to optimal sleep, you can still wake up and be like, oh man, what the hell happened here? Happened to me this morning at 6:30 in the morning. I woke up again because the light was bright, because I have my son's, I was sleeping in my son's room and we have blackout curtains there. But when he moved, he kind of opened a little bit of the crack. Guess what? Bright ass sun right through the window. And I'm like, oh, great. Thanks a lot, kid. But anyways, yeah, that's what you got to do. Your core temperature needs to be reduced and you need to be in a cold environment and you need to black the hell out of that room so that it's conducive to optimal quality and quantity sleep. Period. Super easy.
If you're not willing to do those things, you're making excuses, just like getting to bed on time. Like, I want to improve my sleep, but that sounds like a lot. That sounds like
it doesn't even take effort to black the room out and put the AC down 2 degrees or 4 degrees or whatever the hell it is, depending on what you keep it at. That takes zero effort. Zero effort.
So
virtually zero.
On the core temperature, my core temperature raises every single night when that little fucking 3-year-old of mine, almost 3-year-old of mine, comes and gets in bed between me and my wife. Core temperature's going up when little homie's sleeping on top of me. Okay, so I'm currently dealing with this, but it's a short-term thing, and I'll probably be begging for him to come to bed in a couple of years. So I'm just going to quit my bitching and just roll with the punches for now. So last but not least is stress management. And I will tell you that if you dial in the first 3 that we talked about, your stress will be reduced significantly just by improving your nutrition, not overeating all the fucking time, working out on a regular basis, especially lifting weights, and getting adequate quality sleep. Those 3 things will automatically reduce your stress levels. But for those of you guys who continue to have high stress in your life, let's talk about a few strategies before we close out.
For sure. In terms of stress, man, stress is something that most people deal with all the time, whether they decide to accept it or not. There's different degrees of it. Sometimes people manage it in different ways to the point where they don't believe it's actually is stress when it is. Sometimes stress comes in the form of actually stressing out and your mind just going crazy. You're sweating, your core temperature's going up. You're like, shit. Sometimes it might come in the form of anger. Who knows? But the reality is that we all deal with this shit. Now, the best way to deal with your stress, first and foremost, is to make sure that you don't start your day in an elevated state of stress. So
GBR
going
method.
back to the reason why, GBR method. Yeah, but let's take it back even before that, right? Because your day starts with your night. This is why I said sleep and stress are cousins, because one affects the other. When you have too much stress, you cannot rest your mind and body to fall asleep.
Nope.
When you don't have good quality sleep, you don't get into that deep state of sleep to where your cortisol levels are most dramatically reduced. So you wake up in an elevated state of stress. Okay. That's the way that it works. So they work hand in hand. When your sleep is bad, your stress is generally higher. When your stress is generally higher, your sleep is generally bad. So this is the deal. We take control of it, or it's going to take control of us. So what happens when your stress is extremely high, your motivation is dramatically reduced, because when you have elevated levels of stress, what would have taken you just a little bit of effort to go do the things you need to do, like eating a better meal or working out, becomes 2 to 3 times harder. And of course, that's just a made up number, but it just becomes definitely harder because of the fact that you have other things preoccupying your mind. And when you have things that are preoccupying your mind throughout the course of the day, that actually takes energy. It is draining. So when you have stressful situations and you're not dealing with it correctly and you're not getting good sleep to help mitigate that, it's going to make everything else you need to do for that day harder and harder. And if you do them, you're going to feel amazing, because the best workouts are the ones you do when you don't feel like doing it. But most people don't. Most people will not do it because of this very fact. And then guess what happens? They become further stressed because they're like, I know I needed to do it, but I didn't do it. Now I feel even worse. And they get into this downward negative cycle, this vicious cycle of just like excuses. And then you can't start doing things that are going to make you feel instantly better. More than likely, that's going to become food. That's going to be
alcohol,
food, okay?
Drugs,
food. It's going to be alcohol,
all the
drugs.
shitty things.
Yeah,
the escapism.
It's going to do all the bad things. Exactly, the escapism, the things that are going to make you temporarily feel good, for you to feel long-term regret.
Porn,
because you know you're repeating a cycle that's not conducive to hitting your goals. It's the actual opposite. You're going to feel like you're going backwards, and it's going to further stress you out even more.
You know, you bring up a great point there that I'm just going to put the silver lining on here, is because what you just described is like when we choose discomfort, right? When we choose to do the harder things that we don't want to do, it's the impact that it has on our stress levels, on our sense of accomplishment, our sense of fulfillment. That delayed gratification can be literally life-changing for men. And I would venture to say that most dads carry around more stress than they want to admit, right? They feel like it's almost normal. We've normalized being stressed as a man. Well, I'm supposed to feel like this because I'm a man, which is fucking total horseshit, by the way. But in saying that, what you just said is doing those hard things, right? Like getting to bed on time. It's not an easy task. You got to be consistent with it. Going to the gym, it's fucking hard, dude. Like nobody loves to go to the gym every time it's time to go put your body through, hard labor, we'll call it, right? Like that's not exciting every time. Eating good food when you want to eat a fucking burger or you want to eat some pizza takes discipline. These are all hard things to do, but when you choose those things, you're going the delayed gratification route, right? When you choose to have intimacy with your wife instead of watching porn, or you choose to eat nutrient-dense foods instead of turning to sugar for that quick rush that you get, when you choose to do the things that are a little bit harder and take a little bit more you get a little bit more delayed gratification, your sense of accomplishment, fulfillment, and one could even say masculinity, because that's going to be a result of you doing these things. I would argue, dude, that like if you play the long game when it comes to your health and stress management, especially, dude, just embracing discomfort, right? Like if we can get used to being uncomfortable, but like knowing that we're uncomfortable because there's a reward afterward, and we chose not to take the immediate thing, the porn, the vaping, the alcohol, the thing that's going to make you feel better in the moment, right? Help your emotions a little bit. If we can just delay that and put that off for a couple hours in some cases, couple weeks in some cases, depending on what it is, you're gonna come out on the other end a better man. And I think just getting used to embracing the discomfort of life. We talk about embracing this journey. So many guys want a finish line. When am I done with this shit? When am I done eating in a deficit? When am I done having to eat all this healthy food? Dude, it doesn't end. You've got to figure out a way in your life to be able to have that balance where you are enjoying life still, but you also suck it up, buttercup, when it's time to go to the gym or eat that fucking salmon and asparagus, because you know what's waiting on the other side. It's that delayed gratification.
Yep. And you got to do it, man. The way to think about it is this, because there are a lot of guys who are like, dude, but I don't want to do this for this long. I'm like, hey, but look, get this. You had way more time having fun and eating the things you wanted to do and doing the things that you wanted to do, which got you to the weight that you are now. Now it's your time to just play a little bit of catch up. That's just the reality of what it is. Okay. Oh, but you only had to lose 50 pounds, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, guess what? I only had 50 pounds of fun. You had 150 pounds of fun. You had more fun times than me for longer.
Yeah, I love it.
So that's the way that you got to think about it, man. This game, it's just a game of balance. It's a game of give and take. You just took a lot. Now it's time for you to give. That's it. That's it. You got to pay your dues, man. You got to put in the work and you got to make up for some of the things that you did in the past. That's the reality of what it is. Some people are going to start at way like significantly further back than others, but guess what? It's because they had way more fun in terms of eating and going out and drinking and partying than these other people who have less to lose. But the bottom line is this: it balances out in the end. You had more fun times. Now you have to lose weight for a little bit longer. Those other people had less fun times, but they still went in the wrong direction. So they have less. But in the end, it balances out. Think about it like that, guys. That's the way you need to think about it versus saying, oh my gosh, I have so much further to go. I'm never going to make it. I'm going to quit. Well, let's change that perspective, dude. You had fun times. Now it's time to put in some work. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever, man. We did it going to school, right? You had to put in work. You had to study. You had to read. You had to do these things so you could pass. When you went to college, same exact thing. Guess what? You had an internship. Did you really get paid for that? If you're lucky and you didn't get paid a actual salary that was in alignment with what you're actually accredited for in terms of your degree, right? Dude, you got to put in the work in order to gain what it is that you want to achieve or earn what it is you want to achieve. That's the way that you need to think about it. Quit thinking about it in a way where like, oh my gosh, there's so much more to go. Because if you did that your entire life, you'd be a massive failure because all you did was wind your way through everything and nobody has ever wind their way to success.
Nope.
Okay. So have a perspective shift there, right? You had your fun. It's time to put in the work. That's it. It's just a game of balance. It's not
about not having fun anymore. It's just,
correct.
It's about redefining fun. How about we redefine fun? You know, we used to talk a lot about make fitness fun, right? Dude, do things that you enjoy with people you enjoy. Go to the fucking park and shoot baskets with your son. You don't have to go and run 5 miles to start getting more active, right? Like I think, you know, if we take the rigidity out of it, and like you said, you got to do the damn work. Like you already know you got to do the work. Now it's about finding out how much work you have to do to get to where you want to be while still being able to have this balance. And I think balance is shit because like if we're going to go balance, then I would be eating a lot more shitty meals than I do because I only get about 2 or 3 a week and the rest is dialed the fuck in. All right. So that's not really balanced, but that's enough for me because I know what the good food does for me, right? I know what the gym does for me. And I think if we could get more guys to make that paradigm shift saying, you know what? I know it's going to be hard, but I also know it's waiting on the other side. A better man, better husband, better father, all those things that come along with it. And so, no, I love this episode, dude. And I think, you know, to close shop, you know, we're to put in the work, do the damn work, and do the exact opposite of what the establishment wants of you, right? Get off your phone. Get off the fucking couch. Stop sleeping in. Stop being lazy as fuck, man. You're a dad. You're a dad who has children who deserve the best version of you. And so stop scrolling the phone. Get off the medications. Get healthy and fit so you're not addicted to their shit. I just made a rhyme in no time, but that's not my fucking plan here. My plan is to give you guys a message that is heartfelt because we truly want the best for you. We are in this with you. We are dads ourselves. And in order to change our culture, it starts with us at home, man. It starts with us rising up and taking full responsibility for our health and our family so that we can change the culture in a better way and get the America back that we all love, right? Not this fucking disaster of a nation that we have right now, who is the wealthiest and most resourceful nation while at the same time being the fattest and the sickest nation. Those two things shouldn't go hand in hand, man. And it starts with dads to lead the charge so that we can get this fucking country taken back one dad at a time, quoting the man, the myth, the legend, Ed Bartholomew.
Yep, guys, cliff notes, all right? Too long didn't read. You didn't listen to the whole thing. You skipped to the very end. Eat what you're eating right now. Just eat a little bit less. do some type of resistance training, whether it's just flexing your own muscles or body weight things. Okay. You have time and you have an able body. And if you don't, buy some resistance band, cost you $20 to $30. No excuse for time or money. The third thing, get quality sleep. Just sleep a little bit earlier. And in turn, your stress levels are going to reduce just naturally. It's really that simple. Those are the 3 things that you can do to help with all 4 of those things that we talked about. It's literally that simple. Is it easy? No. But is it simple? Yes. Get started today.
We just gave you the most simplistic path forward. If you guys got value out of today's episode, please share it with another dad in your life who you know can get a little bit better off of today's episode. And we'll see you guys next week. Have an awesome week. Crush it this week. Take care.